Okay, so real quick, I need to rant about something before we start. You know how Transmigration BL has this thing where the MC transmigrates, spends exactly two chapters being confused, and then immediately pivots to, okay, I will just be so nice and so hardworking and so amazing and so marries you, and the ML will fall in love with me and everything will be dandy and fine. Like, that is the whole genre at this point. Confused man arrives in a novel. Confused man is sweet, kind, rich cold ML catches feeling. The end. Must spend the villain's money before he goes bankrupt, said. What if instead of that, the MC's entire survival strategy was just financial sabotage? That's it. That's the plan. Not change the plot, not save the villain, spend his money so the antagonist gets nothing when the company collapses. I need you to understand that this man transmigrated into a life or death situation and responded by going shopping. And I've never felt more seen by a fictional character in my life. Welcome back to Rara Reads. Let's get right into it. This is the channel where I rant about my favorite BL or anything that I personally am invested in right now. And this is an entirely single shot, unedited, unprompted style of video. Podcast style, so just you put it over the background and you do your work. That is the main intention behind this channel. So let's get back into the video. Here is the situation. Ye Zhou wakes up in. He is now inhabiting the body of a low level obscure director who was being kept, financially supported, sugar daddy style, by Jiang Tingyuan, who is the villain of the original novel. Business tycoon, cold, controlled, the hot mess of a man. The kind of man who has a mild misophobia and will not touch most people and somehow still has an entire room of executives nervous just by existing in it. And the original Ye Zhou, the one whose body he is in now, had been repeatedly cheating on this man. Repeatedly. And was eventually caught, thrown out, spiraled into madness, drove his car into Jiang Tingyuan's vehicle. The driver died. My ML lost both of his legs, was hospitalized, and during that time where he was hospitalized, the actual protagonist of the novel swept in, exposed his debts, collapsed his company, and left him bankrupt. This was the entire plot of the novel. After which, Jiang Tingwan woke up and personally killed the original Li Zhao as his first act of revenge. So these stakes are established, right? Now, Ye Zhao, who was a real film director in his real actual life, processes all this information and instead of arriving at, okay, I need to prevent that car accident, or okay, I need to stop the antagonist before he strikes, the conclusion he arrives at is, what if I spent all of Jiang Tingwan's money before the bankruptcy happens, the protagonist inherits nothing. And I just need to pause here because this logic is not entirely wrong, right? Like, it actually makes kind of a sideways sense if you stare at it long enough. The antagonist's entire victory depends on taking over a wealthy company. No wealth, no victory. He's outdid the math just happened to be insane. It's not his fault. My baby girl is totally innocent. So he starts spending, strategically of course, on film projects that he has selected specifically because the entire industry has written them off as guaranteed failures. His thought process is invest in things that will lose money. Money is gone, mission accomplished. Yay, yay, yay. The problem, and this is where the novel becomes what it actually is that Isao is genuinely talented. Like, my man cannot turn it off the type of talent. And he cannot invest in a film project without caring for it. Cannot touch a script without having opinions. Cannot step into a set or studio without his real director instincts taking it over completely. So, these guaranteed to fail projects, they do not fail. Not even a little bit. The first project succeeds. Ye Zhou is stressed, but okay, maybe it was a fluke. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. The second project succeeds. Ye Zhou is now concerned. The third project gets accepted into Ye's Jingze Dream Incubation, which is Jiang Tingyuan's prestigious project development program, and not only gets accepted, but gets fully funded immediately. And Yi Zhao finds this out so while standing in the incubation building in front of Jiang Tingyuan, and he just freezes. Stands completely still for so long that the ML thinks he needs time to process this good news. He had fallen asleep standing up from stress. And Jian Tingwan, a man with mysophobia who avoids touching people as a general life policy, picks him up, carries him to the car himself. His driver is so shocked, he nearly causes an accident. This scene alone tells you everything you need to know about both of the characters, and I will not be elaborating further because I don't think it needs any other explanation. But back to Yi Zhao, here is what makes him actually interesting as an MC versus every other run of the mill transmigration lead I have read. He is not trying to be good, he is not performing virtue to win over the ML. He is just constitutionally incapable of doing bad work. Like, my man is so good, so good, so good. He is just so good. His crew notices almost immediately that this version of their director is different. Work longer hours, treat people with actual respect, has opinions about every single shot, and is not shy about it. The reputation of the original Lisa was basically mediocre guy who got lucky, average boyfriend. The reputation of current Yizao becomes something else entirely, something earned. And the thing is, he is not even doing it for the reputation. He is just wasting his money. He wants to run out of the money. And he does not care about the reputation. He is doing it because he actually loves filming. And he cannot help himself. And this is the one thing in that borrowed life that feels fully his. The tension between I am supposed to be destroying things and I cannot stop building is what drives the comedy, but also makes his entire arc so satisfying to follow. By the time we are deep into the novel, the money spending plan is basically a background footnote. Yi Zhao has a career now, he has a crew that would go to war for him. He has a mentor in director Sang. He has Shufei, the young master of a film company who has all the resources and none of the motivation. Who Yi Zhao essentially corners into using his actual acting talent because Yi Zhao cannot stand wasted potential. He has built an entire life while trying to burn one down. Okay, so let's talk about the ML, Jiang Tingwan. I want to talk about him carefully because I think it's easy to describe him in a way that makes him sound like, every other cold ML in this genre. Stoic, rich man, secretly soft, falls for the bright, cheerful MC. You have read that 17 times. That is not quite what this is. Jiang Tingyuan is not secretly soft. He's not hiding a warm interior underneath the coldness. He is genuinely controlled, genuinely private, genuinely a man who has built his entire life around not needing people. The misophobia is not a quirk. It is a detail that tells you something about how deliberately he keeps the world at arm's length. What makes him different is the specificity of how he responds to Yi Zhao. Not warm, specificity. There is a difference, somehow. He notices exact things. He shows up in exact moments. He does not make grand gestures. He makes precise ones. There is a scene, one of the best in the novel, where Yizao has been in closed shooting for about a month, I think. And it was right after director Sang collapses, and he has been carrying the entire production alone. He told Jiang Tingwan not to visit because he does not want to see his, lover falling apart. And my man, my ML, he shows up anyway. And Yizao's assistant tries to stall him while Yizao frantically uses his phone camera as a mirror to fix himself, brushing dust off, fixing his hair, composing his face, and all that. And then walks over trying to look off like a person who has been fine this entire long time. And Jian Tingwan takes one look at him and pulls him in without saying anything for a moment. And then says, I wanted to see you. That's it. No explanation, no apology for showing up uninvited. Just, I wanted to see you, so I came. And the gaming scene, Ye Zhou gets cornered by like five enemies, I think, in a game and calls out for help. My man, who is playing strategically and has a clean exit, turns around, abandons the entire smart decision entirely, comes back to fight five people for Ye Zhou's in game character, and gets himself down to almost no health while doing it. When they win, because they are the MC and ML, so of course they will win, Ye Zhou does not even get to process what just happened before Jiang Tingyuan kisses him. This is a man who runs a company on calculated decisions. Around ease out, the calculation just stops. Now, the slow burn, because of course, this entire novel is a full package. It has slow burn. It's real and it matters. Yi Zhao is falling for Yi Jian for a specific reason that I think is underrated in the reviews of this novel. It is not, is he trustworthy or is he a good person? Yi Zhao's fear is, am I allowed to love someone in a world I fell into by accident? If this is not my real life, am I allowed to treat it like one? That is a lonelier question now that you think about it. And the moment Izao decides, yes, claim this life, claim this man, stops treating everything entire as temporary, it lands properly because the novel made you understand exactly what it cost him to get there. All right, all right. I know. I said I would be honest in the reviews, so of course there are some negatives. First, and this is a big one, the money spending premise basically ghosted in the second half of the novel. Like, Cai Ying introduced this genuinely unhinged comedic engine, and then somewhere around the midpoint just quietly parked it. By the way, Cai Ying is the author of this novel. And Izzo stops while even pretending to be worried about spending money. Like, my man just stopped his unhinged plan. The plan dissolves into the background, and we pivot into a pretty standard transmigration structure story from there, which is fine. The story is actually good. But if you pick this up specifically for the man desperately trying to be bankrupt and becomes a billionaire type of trope, I think I need to warn you that energy does not last the entire novel. It is front loaded, enjoy it while it's there. Second, Jiang Yu, the antagonist. The man who, in the original timeline, destroyed Jiang Tingyuan completely. We are told repeatedly how dangerous he is. We get his scheming in the background, and then his downfall almost all happens off screen. Like, he just sort of stopped being relevant. There is no confrontation, there is no dramatic unraveling. He fades out, sort of. For the primary villain of the original novel, he is handled with the energy of a parking ticket. A minor inconvenience quietly resolved. Is it a deal breaker? Nope, it's not. Is it a little bit funny how undramatic it is for someone who was supposedly catastrophically dangerous? Genuinely, yes. Jiang Yu built himself up as the final boss and got defeated like a mid level obstacle. The audacity. Now, here is what this novel actually is underneath the entire premise. It is a story about a man who came into borrowed life, planning to leave as soon as possible, and accidentally made it worth staying in. Every project he directed was supposed to be temporary, every relationship he built was supposed to be something he could walk away from. And instead, he built a career that is genuinely his, a crew that genuinely respects him, and a relationship with a man who shows up on set after a month because he wanted to see him. And Cheng Ran, the side character who gave up his entire dream for someone who did not deserve it, getting to reclaim that dream and walk back towards it on his own terms. That subplot hits every single time. In a novel about spending money before a bankruptcy, there is a whole human story about someone learning they're allowed to want things for themselves again. And Cai Ying wrote it with care. The comedy is real, the romance is specific and earned. The career arc gives the MC an identity that exits completely outside of the love story, which I am so happy for. And the world it builds, the film sets, the industry dynamics, the crew relationship feels lived in rather than decorative, if you get what I mean. It is not a perfect novel by no means. The back half is quieter than the front half promises. The villain is a letdown of sorts. The premise does not sustain itself all the way through, but the heart of it is good. Genuinely, specifically, warmly good. And that is enough. That's it. That's all I have for you guys. If you have read this or if you are planning to read this novel, drop a comment. I want to know which scene got you, like the gaming scene that got me. And thumbs up if this helps. Subscribe if you're not already. I'm Rara. This is Rara Reads. See you on the next one. Bye.